Are you tired of the warning yet? There's no way, huh? Every song of theirs unique and standalone. These beautiful sisters, the trio from Mexico that have risen to fame, that are making a name for themselves and are amazing songwriters and musicians. The Warning, this one's called Ritual, just released a few days ago. What is this one about? Have you listened to it yet? What do you think of it? Which one is your favorite Warning song, by the way? Which one is the Warning song that did it for you? Talk to me in the comments. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. My name is Rosalie. We go around the world to explore music, to talk about cultures, about psychology and philosophy, work our way through things that fascinate and confuse and amaze us. So subscribe and buckle up for the next ride. Those white wings dipped in black, almost half white, half black. That's interesting to note. And then here the girls appearing as bright angels. Very interesting.
I think I'm going blind. Oh, I can see the signs. I feel it coming. I feel it coming. I hope you close my eyes when I run out of time. Can't keep on running. I keep it coming.
Okay, I'm not going to say nothing. I'll just experience this with you. But the depth of these lyrics, my guys, I can't wait to talk to you about these lyrics. Oh, I hope you close my eyes when I run out of time. There's so much to talk about there. That is poetic and profound. Yeah.
I feel it coming. I hope you close my eyes when I run out of
Her
time.
voice is beautiful.
Can't keep on running. I keep it coming. Realistically distressed. I play it out in my head. Catastrophically obsessed. It makes me wanna rip my heart out of my chest. 'Cause I just see death and what is beautiful. Playing all the funerals. Everyone's blissfully delusional, but I deprive myself like it's a ritual. Ignoring my prescription, I found a new addiction. Now I'm not eating, and I'm not sleeping. My mind is playing fiction, a curse of my existence. Hyperfixation, no medication.
Oh my gosh, I'm so freaking proud of these girls. They are just climbing. Every time that I'm like, "Ooh, this is my latest favorite. This is the one." They bring something else. Oh my gosh. And I also love how they're more and more as they've been developing as a band and a brand, how they're all taking turns singing. I mean, I know they all have their instruments and their field of expertise, but I just love when I see Dani, Ale, Pao, they just singing, working together. They're contributing. It's this beautiful trio of working together, creating art. You know what I'm saying? You can't box them in. It's not like, oh, you stay over there and you stay over here. No, they're artists. They're creating together. And it just adds to what they are. It's hard for me to find the right words right now. This is so freaking good. And I'm so excited about this topic right now because that's what's been on my mind. And I'll tell you guys about that in a second.
And I'm not sleeping. My mind is playing fiction, a curse of my existence. Hyperfixation, no medication stops me from calling the dead. Light the candles on my bed, bracing for the world to end. It makes me wanna rip my hair off my head. 'Cause I just see death and what is beautiful. Playing all the funerals. Everyone's blissfully delusional, but I deprive myself like it's a ritual.
This music video. my gosh.
I just see death in what is beautiful. Plan all the funerals. Everyone's blissfully delusional, but I deprive myself like it's a ritual. But I deprive myself like it's a ritual. But I deprive myself like it's a ritual.
Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps. This is eerie. Oh my gosh! The music video. Oh my gosh, there's so much symbolism here. These chicks are freaking legendary. Okay, subscribe to The Warning. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, what's the matter with you? Go subscribe to them and go support them on all the social media platforms, by the way. Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can find them. Number 2, I'm going to try to think in boxes so that I'm not all over the place with my thoughts, because the music video, absolutely beautiful work. So many elements, constant switches of constant frame switches. It kept me on my toes. I mean, I feel like you have to watch it multiple times to not miss anything. The symbolism of the angels, them in their beautiful angelic state with all the wings, but then also in their illuminated bright light stage, as we would maybe think of angels or picture angels, that dance between dark and light, the white and the black in the wings itself. A lot of duality. And then I think that was fitting because you saw a lot of things that could be looked at two ways. You saw the flower, you saw that beautiful horse, but now it's in flames. You see these beautiful things. The beautiful flower, was it an orchid? These girls, I love how they all have different hair colors. I also think that that's brilliant. Obviously, that's probably a personal choice just for their style and what they're into right now. But it's so fitting for them each to have their own hair color brand. It's that Charlie's Angels feeling. It's that the groups of 3 are very impactful on us. When we see things in 3, different numbers have had different impacts. The number 7, we think of perfection and something holy and fulfilled. Number 6, the human number, right? Not quite perfect, not quite fulfilled. The number 3 is powerful. We find it in geometry and a lot of geometric shapes. It's this idea of in religion Trinity, or how a strand of 2 can easily be broken, but one of 3 cannot be torn apart. 3 is a very powerful number. And when you see a group of beautiful women, I think that adds to the appeal as well, of course. You have a very intriguing number, a number that intrigues the mind. And you have them all in their different hair colors, their style. They're working together so succinctly. It's like a powerful unit, a force. And yet they're their own individual beauties with their own talent and their own style. I think there's something appealing to the human eye to see that. Oh, one in blonde, one in brunette or black haired, and one in red. I'm going to let the video play with the sound off. And I just want to talk to you a bit about what this music video represented to me. And then we'll dive deeper into the lyrics. In the beginning, these people all marching, it looks like some type of pilgrimage. It looks like people wandering. It makes me think of Exodus, right? The story of the people of Israel leaving Egypt. It makes me think of people on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land in search of God or some revelation. It makes me think of Islam, people headed to Mecca, which is also what I thought about earlier when all these people were surrounding the ladies, the warning, the angels on that block of those rocks. But I see people here veiled in white, very ritualistic. It makes me think of religions, of cults, fitting to the idea of a ritual. People clothed in some type of robe, that group mindset. We're all following something, looking for some type of experience. And then you have what looked like angels falling from the sky. The light that came down from the sky as it's getting dark, as the sun is going down, made me think of angels that are coming down. The idea of Satan, the adversary, as he's referred to in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament, is in the New Testament, or through the Christian lens and Christian theology, interpreted as the angel of light that had fallen from the sky. So a lot of religious imagery here. The idea of something that has a lot of duality. Are they angels? Are they good? Or are they evil? The fallen angel, the Satan. Are they pure, wearing white, half white wings? Or is this a fallen angel? Is this a danger? The black parts of the wings. Which one is it, right? The earth is cracking open. These girls, these angels have fallen from the sky. And then the imagery begins. We have white horses and swords. A lot of that imagery is things we can find in religion, and particularly in Christianity, the New Testament, the idea that Jesus will return, the scriptures that say, I've come to bring the sword, this idea of perhaps the wars that religion have caused. A lot of duality here. I see a beautiful horse and I think wonderful, majestic, but to someone else it might mean death, it might mean danger. Same with the sword, right? Is the sword something that will cause harm, or is it there to protect? Is it something honorable, like the way we would think of a knight with a sword, or is it something that will bring destruction and death when we think of wars? And the religious spiritual lingo just continues. Then you see that swirling the spiral in her hand, and it's interesting because the swirl appears in her hand. Now we see it in the water, and later we see it on a macro level in the clouds. It's almost like this interesting idea of as above, so below to me. It appears on her hand, it appears in the water, this ripple effect, as if something has been thrown in the middle of the water and now it leaves ripples. Perhaps this idea of eternity, of things spiraling, right, going in circles. And that is powerful because of what I think the lyrics are about. Wait, subscribe, don't go anywhere. I'll tell you what I mean. And then maybe we can compare notes. So tell me in the comments if you interpreted this too. But you have that spiral going in circles. It feels like a storm brewing, like you're stuck inside a storm and it's brewing on a small level and on a large scale. Perhaps also something these angels caused. Were they the ones that led to that tornado, to that whirlwind? She foresaw it in her hands, perhaps. The hand looking at your palm to foresee things. Also very spiritual, religious lingo, right? In certain cults and religions, there are rituals where you do that, where people read your palms and they try to foretell your future. Okay? There's Bible verses that talk about, I've engraved you in the palms of my hands. This idea of looking at your palms and then something happening is interesting. The orchid, I believe that's an orchid. What does the orchid symbolize? That's what I'm looking for. I want to see. The orchid symbolizes love, luxury, beauty, and strength, striking appearance and ability to thrive in harsh, varying conditions. They represent endurance, refinement, the symbolism of orchids in different cultures. I'm honing in on the orchid just for a second because that's one of the images that kept popping up. In Asia, China, for example, orchids are celebrated as symbols of refinement, nobility, and friendship. Confucius himself compared the orchid to a virtuous person. In Japan, they've been connected to wealth and prosperity. In Europe, the Victorians adored orchids, seeing them as rare, luxurious, and mysterious. In the Americas, Central and South America, orchids have been cherished for centuries, especially in rituals. Aha! Where are our ladies from? In rituals and healing practices. Some species even hold medicinal uses. Today, orchids in the U.S. are popular gift flowers, symbolizing love, beauty, and strength. This is interesting. We see a lot of ritualistic elements. The horse, same thing. In some native communities, the horse is seen as intuitive, a sacred ally and a bridge between the physical and spiritual realm. Okay, we have very interesting elements that were chosen for this music video, not by coincidence. And we have all this beautiful footage. The video feels very mysterious, very spiritual, very eerie. At one point in the end, that hole in her chest, very interesting as the owl flies out. Owls are often connected to wisdom, intuition, and the ability to see through deception. They thrive in the dark. They're strongly tied to the subconscious, spiritual transition, and the mysteries of the night. Okay? Something that thrives in the dark, that can handle the dark. And here the ladies are singing about seeing death everywhere. It's a beautiful play. Lyrically, the composition, the music video on dark and light. Here, all the people crowding around the angels as they're on those rocks was interesting. It makes me think of Mecca, of Islam. It makes me think of religion where people are worshiping someone, where they're reaching out, perhaps to be healed, right? Like the way that people were reaching out, trying to touch the hem of Jesus. You see this idea. It's a very human idea to reach out for someone that might be able to help you and heal you. And here these people are reaching out, clawing at perhaps these angels, maybe for hoping for some type of healing, for some type of redemption, for some type of salvation. The hole in her chest that then the owl flies out of. Absolutely powerful imagery. So much spiritual, ritualistic image. Fitting to the heavy metal. This whole composition was legendary. Like I said in the beginning, every time I think, that I've not necessarily heard at all, but that, the warning will just have another warning song, they bring in something new that I've not heard before. And it's every song unlike the other. in composition, in music video, in style, how hard they go, how excellent they refine their skill, and how profound the lyrics are. Run from nothing. Okay, now the moment you've been waiting for. What do I think these lyrics are about? They could be about a couple of things. My mind went to people who struggle with OCD. That was one thing. Obsessive compulsive disorder, where you cannot escape your own mind, where you feel so stuck. You feel like in that spiral, you're being sucked in by this whirlwind. And you can't escape. Where others might see beauty, you see despair, you see death. You can't escape. Or in general, just feeling in turmoil with your mind when it comes to mental health. Perhaps also paranoia, where you just see a threat everywhere. You're catastrophically obsessed. I also think that I'm seeing a conversation, and this is why this hits so home right now, because of a conversation I had with a dear friend of mine not too long ago. I also see a conversation here about the times we live in where we are becoming witness more and more to the horrors around us. The Epstein files, the genocide in Gaza, the horrible genocide towards Christians in Nigeria, the terrible things that are happening all around the world, where there is injustice, where people who should be imprisoned are not, nobody's being arrested, and they're keeping their positions of power, where we have nations allying with one another, America funding wars where innocent lives and allegedly, according to UN reports, children are being targeted. You have polarization and people that are hiding behind keyboards, spewing hate. You have a time where we don't know what to believe, where there's so much tension, because even when you want to stand for something and you want to stand for what you think would be wrong, I think most of us could agree murder is wrong, children being hurt is wrong. And yet even there's tension because we don't know what to believe anymore. Well, is this article true? Was this AI generated? Are these reports true? Maybe that's not really what's happening. Maybe no kids were actually eaten. Maybe this is just a conspiracy. Surely it can't be that bad. And I think there is a lot of duality in this world where on one hand, we will drown in despair if all we see is death, because there is a lot of beauty in life. But there is also a time to address death and to shout out and to declare that we don't stand with certain things, that we are against brutality, where there is a time to speak about the injustice and to not remain silent. There's this weird yin and yang dance in life where both somehow seems to be required. Can we still enjoy the World Cup in light of alleged FIFA investigations and corruption and inflated prices and a consumeristic world? Can we still enjoy things and come together and unite over, say, a sport or a game? Can we enjoy that allegedly countries are getting along much more than our governments would like? Can we enjoy those things if there's still horror and murder and more happening on the other side of the world? There's so much tension in this dance. I see a reflection of that turmoil in this song, and I think we live in a time now where it feels so overwhelming. You spend long enough on the internet, on social media, any platform, if you will, researching, you think you're losing your mind. All you can see is death. And it feels like anyone that may want to still stay positive is delusional, must be ignorantly blind. And that's that tension, I think, of not closing a blind eye to what's happening in this world, but not being consumed by it. That's another way that I interpret these lyrics. A person that is saying, I'm so distressed. I keep playing it around. I've been reading these files. I've been listening to the news. I've seen all the horrors that are happening. I see death everywhere. I see death in what is beautiful. Anything that could possibly be good, I can't see anything good anymore. It's a very, very relatable song. I think I'm going blind. I can't see the signs. I feel it coming. I hope you close my eyes when I run out of time. That part, as I pointed out when I was listening, was poignant to me because when we die, right, usually in the movies we see this, or just in general, when the person dies and they, for some reason, their eyes stayed open, it's custom to close their eyes, like lay them to rest. And so here to say, I hope you close my eyes when I run out of time is interesting because it's this play on death, as the whole song keeps referring to. I hope you close my eyes, but perhaps also a conversation about ignorance, perhaps, about people, on one hand, turning a blind eye to things that need to be talked about, but at the same time, maybe people that don't, people that see it, that are paying attention to it all, need someone to close their eyes when the time comes, when they're running out of time, when they can't take it anymore. Sometimes there is a time and a place to say, hey, enough. I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I didn't quite say it very gracefully. I had regretted that. But I was trying to encourage her to be cautious what she's filling her mind with. If she's spiraling in absolute despair and anger, maybe there's a time to close our eyes, not to turn a blind eye to the injustice, but because our mind was not made for that much stimuli. Our mind and our body was not made to carry the weight of the world in any moment of the day. It's literally impossible for us. We're receiving all these visual and audio stimuli, and our brain is going through all of that, can't possibly process it. Now we're worried about what's happening on the other side of the world. We're triggered. In 1 second, we have an adrenaline rush. And the next, we have a dopamine hit. And the next, some cortisol. And then the next, some God knows what. That constant up and down and in and out. Our mind was not built for that. And I think it becomes so exhausting that now we see death everywhere. And it sometimes takes a friend to close our eyes and say, hey, you've run out of time. This is too much. Take a break. I think it could be taken different ways. I see a lot of potential symbolism there. I can't keep on running. I keep becoming unrealistically distressed. I play it out in my head, catastrophically obsessed. It makes me want to rip my heart out of my chest. And I think there are people in this world, I count my friend as one of them, who see these stuff and who have a righteous anger. And they can't just keep pretending that they didn't just read what they read or see what they saw. And I encouraged her to maybe use that strength somehow to get involved, to do something about it. It is beautiful. It is necessary for us to have those warriors in this world that say no. There are artists like that are using their platform to shed light. IMA is one of them. People that are not afraid to talk about things and even risk being labeled or canceled for it, but that are saying, no, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to use my songs. I'm going to use my art. We need that. We need people that are rebels, that fight for things. But at the same time, you can get to a place, again, yin and yang perhaps, where you get so distressed, you get so overwhelmed, you catastrophically obsess. It makes me want to rip my heart out of my chest. Is the answer to the horrors of this world, to the things that are happening in our world, is the answer really to become so obsessed and distressed that we rip our heart out of our chest? Is that the point? There is so much horror. There are so many terrible things in this world we can't possibly imagine. I think that's why sometimes we label things as conspiracy theories, because it's almost too uncomfortable to think about. We don't want to believe someone will be capable of such horrors. We don't want to believe people are capable of hurting kids or eating them or drinking their blood. We don't want to think about that. That can't be true, right? And yet we look at historic documents and idols that were made and allegedly children being sacrificed to Molech. The Mayans, there's archaeological and genetic evidence that the ancient Maya practiced child sacrifice. Adult sacrifices, particularly of war captives, was more common, but children were targeted for specific, highly sacred rituals like dedicatory temple offerings and rites to ensure agricultural abundance. If the Mayans did it back then, do we really think that there's no possible way in hell or earth that would still be the case? Of course. But we don't want to think that could be possible. We don't want to. We rather turn a blind eye. And so there's this dance between, this tension, dance almost sounds too pretty, this tension between accepting that the horrors are happening if we like it or not. We can shrug it off. We can turn a blind eye. We can hide behind AI and say, surely this was just IA generated and that article is biased and that's actually not what happened. Maybe the UN report is not actually targeted, factual, because Israel's government is claiming that that's not what they're doing. Even if the article is not 100% accurate. Have kids been killed? Yes. Have kids died in this war? Yes. 1? No. More? 2? More. Thousands. Is that bad enough for us to be outraged? The Epstein files. Oh, well, certain people have not been convicted and it's innocent until proven guilty. Okay, but are certain names appearing thousands of times in certain documents? Yes. Should we have these letters reveal everything, not redacted, not hiding, not layering them so complex and confusing in emails that people feel like they're going crazy when they try to do actual research? Right? What's going on here? There is a time and a place to let these things distress us, to open our eyes and say, this is not okay. AI aside, articles aside, he said, she said aside, there are people dying, kids, women, men, innocent people. Enough is enough. And I think this song is so freaking relatable and powerful. And I'm so proud of the Warning for creating such art, because it's this double, multi-layered, not only double-layered, multi-layered song that could have us talking about mental health, paranoia, OCD, being so distressed, playing things out on our mind, wanting to rip your heart out. You're losing your mind. Mental health on a micro level, individual turmoil, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, thoughts you can't break out. But on a macro level, also a conversation about a people, a time we live in where we are being so bombarded with negativity. We are obsessing over all the horrors of this world. All we see is death, that it makes us want to rip our hearts out. And my question is that the answer? Is the answer that we are all so distressed about all the horrors that are truly happening in some shape or form, on some level, that we can now not function and just want to give up and tear our hearts out? Or is there room for us to still cling to hope, to still be light in an seemingly ever-growing dark world? I just see death in what's beautiful. Plan all the funerals. Everyone's blissfully delusional. Hear another lyric that makes me think it could be about all those things. Someone who's obsessive compulsive or has paranoia or is drowning their anxiety may really feel like everyone else around them is delusional. Everyone seems fine. I'm planning the funerals. It's this concept, I think Brene Brown speaks on this, of foreboding joy. You can't fully enjoy something because you feel like the next shoe is about to drop. You're constantly stuck in that guard. This could be a sign of PTSD. People that have experienced severe trauma who can't really relax, who can't really arrive and live and see beauty because they're always on guard. We really could interpret this in various ways. That's what makes their song so powerful always, because it's not just one message. But again, on a macro level, perhaps as a society, sociologically looking, we see a people that are so consumed and bombarded with death left and right, with horrors, that anyone that doesn't want to talk about it, that still can still go watch a World Cup movie and enjoy, that can still be happy, seems blissfully delusional. Ignoring my prescription, I found my new addiction. Now we're talking about medication. I found my new addiction. I'm not eating. I'm not sleeping. My mind is playing fiction, a curse of my existence, hyperfixation, no medication. Here we're back to a conversation that makes me strongly think of mental health. When a person, maybe also schizophrenia or other personality and disorders, is not taking their prescription, now a new addiction comes into place. I'm not eating. Negative side effects of your whole system being off kilter. My mind is playing fiction. I'm seeing things that are not there. I am so freaking impressed with these lyrics, because that too makes me think of people that are being tormented by the news and by all the horrors of this world. When you fixate on one or the other thing, and there is no holistic health, we all are made for balance. It will affect how we eat. It will affect how we sleep, or the lack thereof. My mind is playing fiction. It's crazy because I think as a society, we've gotten so deep into this that it feels like we don't know what's real and what's not anymore. Our mind is playing fiction, right? The things we see, are they really true or not? Is it just a conspiracy? Are these people just going cuckoo that have all these theories? Or could this possibly be happening? We don't know what's real or what's not. And on a personal level, this is people's reality. When they have fiction in their mind, stories, a curse of my existence, hyperfixation, no medication. I strongly think this could also be about obsessive compulsive disorder, I think. Stops me from calling the dead, light the candles on my bed, right? Very ritualistic. And ritual is a powerful word because the video was very much ritualistic. Angels falling from the sky, the sword, the sacrifice on that rock. All these people that were clawing after these angels. Also a double entendre there. Were they clawing for salvation, like I suggested earlier, or were they trying to harm these angels? Were they trying to come after them? Because in the end, we see these angels or bloody wings laying on that rock as if they have been sacrificed. What has been sacrificed? What has been consumed now? Was that heart eventually ripped out? What has been led to the slaughter? It stops me from calling the dead, light the candles on my bed, bracing for the world to end. It makes me want to rip my hair out of my head. We went from wanting to rip our heart out of our chest, our hair out. It's someone who's losing their mind. And the ritual is powerful because, like I said, the video is very ritualistic and very religious. But the idea of a ritual fits to that idea of OCD. When you are doing something, you light your candles just so. You need your medication to stop you from calling the dead. I'm lighting the candles on my bed. I'm bracing for the world to end. It's this constant impending doom feeling. I see death in what is beautiful. I run from nothing. This is where I thought paranoia perhaps comes into play. I see death in what is beautiful. And then the outro again says, I run from nothing, but I deprive myself like it's a ritual. I deprive myself like it's a ritual. A conversation about self-harm, perhaps. A conversation about OCD. about paranoia, about someone has some type of personality disorder and is not taking their medication and is tormented. And on a macro level, a conversation about a people, I think, something we can all relate to, where we see death instead of beauty, when everything feels like it's the end. And I think if you're struggling with that, if that's your story in your mind, I really urge you to seek help, to talk to your doctor, to go seek out therapy and talk to him or her about medication. And as a culture, as a people, I think that we need to let this song open up the conversation, allow us to pause long enough to ask ourselves, what are we filling our mind with? And how can we find the wisdom, like an owl, to thrive in the night, to thrive in a world that feels very dark when we look at the news, when we see what's happening? How can we find that balance, the patience, the strength, the observation, the discernment to know what is real, what is not, what is fiction, what is not, to understand that a sword can look majestic and royal and can also bring death. A flower can be a beautiful symbol, but if it's up in flames, it seems terrifying. A horse, a symbol perhaps of freedom, of riding free, but at the same time up in flames, looking like some type of apocalyptic symbol, the end of something. Our brain will play tricks on us. And there's this struggle, this yin and yang of trying to find that dance between not being afraid to talk about the death, not being afraid to say, yes, I'm going crazy. Personally, as a society, are we losing our minds? But also, can we find a way to stop long enough to still see beauty in death? Is that too idealistic? Is the answer to rip out our hair and pull our hearts out in the face of all the death around us? I would say no. We still need to choose life. We still need to speak life and to dance in the light. What a powerful song. I mean, we could talk about this for days because the symbolism in the video was so freaking powerful. The ladies were dressed so beautifully. The symbolism of her looking at her palms, like I said, that foreboding joy, impending doom idea, the idea of rituals, right? Of getting ready to sacrifice something. What are we sacrificing? Our sanity, ourselves. In the very end, the angels laying down. I think it was the angels that had ultimately been taken over. And here, even interesting, Dani, Ale, Pau, all standing there with themselves, sacrificing themselves. That's another conversation that we could possibly have. What is this supposed to represent? Others are delusional. I'm in my own mind. I'm stuck in my head. I'm destroying myself in a day and age where darkness presents itself as good, where the enemy, if there is a Satan or even just the evil that we create in this world, is under the guise of the angel of light. It seems like something beautiful, and yet it's dangerous, it's deceptive. In a world where we don't know what's real, where we feel like sometimes we are our own worst enemy, personally and as a society. Let's talk about that. Let's make way to ask, how can we find that dance between death and life? How can we break free from these rituals, these cycles we find ourselves in? And then here in the end, these angel wings all bloodied up. The girl's gone, just sacrificed angel rings left behind. This was a movie, the phenomenal music video. My gosh, we could talk about this. There's so much. I know I missed a lot. I feel like this was so saturated with symbolism and ideas. We could talk about this for days, but I want to hear from you. What do you think about this song? What did I miss? Where did your mind go? What do you think it's about? And what can we take from this? How can this be life-giving for us? I mean, of course, it's art and just enjoyable to listen to and to rock out to. But is there anything here that could empower us to make more out of life, to find wisdom? What do you think? Go subscribe to The Warning if you haven't yet. Make sure to click the bell so you don't miss my next video. And I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!